Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a quick lily in watercolour, but what I really wanted to talk to you about was adjusting the amount of water that you use depending on the weather. So it's something I have touched upon before, but I've really been struggling this week. It's incredibly hot here. We shouldn't moan about it because usually here it's raining. So it's been absolutely beautiful weather, but my watercolours have been drying far too quickly for me and I'm not used to working in these conditions. So what we need to do is adjust the amount of water that we use. So, and also be prepared, have your mixes made up ready. So I've done a very quick sketch of a lily flower. If you did want this image, I will take a photograph of this and then I'll put it on my website, and I'll put the link down below. If you wanted to do this lily yourself, you could just trace it from there. To begin with, I've made up three colours. I've got alizarin crimson, sap green and lemon yellow, and as you can see those are quite watery, plenty of water in those, and those are going to be used for the background. So we'll do the background first. So I'm just going to quickly, and this is the thing about this weather, quickly do the background. So use nice big brushes so we're not leaving it time to dry out too much, and you could do a section at a time and just keep the edge damp. So if you find it's drying and you don't where it's going to join, you don't want it to have a hard edge, just keep the edge damp. So be aware all the time of where it's drying out, just keep looking at your paper. And like I've said before, if you tilt your head to one side and look across the surface of the paper, you'll see if there's any dry areas where the paper isn't shining, where it's gone more matte. So just keeping the lily dry. There's a little bit of colour in this water actually where I've been washing my brush in it, but never mind. So the actual lily shape, I have a lot of gardening books and I just find it quite easy now and again, if you just want to remind yourself of the shape of a flower, just to have a look through your gardening books or your gardening magazines. So even if you're not using the same colours, you can just get that shape. And all I'm going to do now is with the same big brush, just drop some colours into the background and let it flow into that water that's there. Don't worry if it goes over the flower a little bit, because we can just take that off. So see there, just with a dry brush, because because the paper's dry here, it isn't going to really flow onto the flower unless you do it with your brush. Okay, so that's probably enough of the pink. Go for some green, and we'll put some green over that stem and leaf area to begin with, so that makes it easier to paint later on. But we really just want this to be quite a hazy background, but I'm just going to try and paint into one or two of the corners. Not all the way around, but just tease the paint into those corners so that we've got background right up to the flower. And don't feel you have to have the whole thing coloured, leave some areas where it's a little bit whiter as well, and because it's so wet and we're keeping it quite wet, we will be able to lift some of that out with a tissue if we did want some areas of white back. So this paper is cockling a little bit. This is the watercolour pad, the Bockingford one, £140, and it does tend to cockle quite a bit. It's the hot press one. So you see I just clip it at the end. So this is just some lemon yellow, and I just thought it'd make it a little bit more sunshiny in the background. And we're just dropping the colours in, we're not really painting, we're not thinking too much about where the colours are going, just dropping them in. We'll just put a little bit in there. Okay, so once you've put the colours in, if you just want to do some tidying, like squeeze the water out of your brush, and then if it has cockled, you can just suck some of that up, just to tidy it up a bit so that you don't get the cauliflowers going back. Because what would happen now, if I didn't do this, where it's drier here, these pools, as it dried, this area would pull this water back and you'd end up with the cauliflowers. So if you just suck some of that out now with your brush, whilst it's still wet, that will stop that happening. Like I say, if you did want more light in it at this stage, you could just get either a dry brush or some tissue and lift some lighter areas out. So we do want to keep it quite summery and light. And then all we need to do now is wait for that to completely dry, which shouldn't take too long. So now that's completely dry, you can see it's considerably lighter. We do have one or two cauliflowers in places due to the large amount of water that I used, but actually in a garden setting that can sometimes be quite nice because it can look like it's maybe some flowers in the background or whatever, so you don't need to worry too much about that. So we don't want to put anything else on the background. One mistake, especially that beginners make especially, is to go back into things that they've already done. Leave it. If you're happy with it, leave it, and don't keep fiddling with things. And this is especially true when you're doing a landscape or something with things like the sky and the clouds. Once you've got those initial washes down, don't go back and start fiddling because you can soon spoil things. So now I'm going to start with the leaf. I've got a smaller brush and I've just got the same three colours still, and I've put a little bit of extra pigment in, so we've got a bit of a stronger pigment than we began with. So I went over this area where the stem is with the other colours initially, and they're going to shine through because of course watercolour is transparent, and that's the whole idea of it, is that you allow the other colours to shine through. So it's going to give you a little bit of light and shade naturally on this leaf and stem with those completely random mixes of colours underneath. And we're not going to work wet into wet now, we're going to leave that to dry and work on another part of the flower because we know it's going to dry very quickly, so what we'll do is come back and work wet onto dry. So for that reason as well, we'll do one petal at a time so that we're not worrying about it drying too quickly if we do the whole thing. So like I said, this is the alizarin crimson. So even doing one petal at a time, you can see there where it's dried a little. So just while it's still damp, with a damp brush, I'm just going to try and blend that in a little bit more. But this has got quite a sketchy feel, this flower, so we don't really need to worry too much. It's not a photorealistic, precise painting. But if you just do one petal at a time, you won't have the worry of it drying out too quickly. And again, you need to work quite quickly. And then we'll worry about adding some shadows and detail once that's dry. Another thing I should perhaps have mentioned is to have a good brush as well when it's this kind of weather and you're not wanting things to dry out too quickly. You need a brush that holds plenty of paint. Again, with beginners, you can find often I'll see beginners with brushes that are way too small. So with a really small brush, they're just not going to hold a lot of paint. So this one's a bit more complicated because I want to go around these little stamen things, seed poddy things, whatever they are. Don't need to go around the stem, just around the little pods at the end. So you can see I've not refilled that brush and done all that and around those. If you had a really I mean, it's quite a small brush, but if you didn't have a good brush, you would find you'd be constantly reloading your brush and it drying out in between. And again with this petal we've got them to go around as well. Like I said, it's very sketchy, this drawing, so don't worry too much. Just gives you a feel of the plant and the fact that it's a lily. Very distinct shape. I actually decided to do this morning because I've got some just coming out that I planted this year, and I have to admit I'm a bit disappointed because I bought them off the internet as a pack of 6 bulbs and they've all come up very healthy, strong plants, but they've not come up the colours that they were advertised as being, so they don't go with anything else in the garden. So perhaps we should just buy things when they're in flower so we know what colour we're buying. So this part here is the other side of this piece here, which will become more apparent as we get some shadow on those. Try if you can to paint as well in the direction that the petal's growing. Okay, so while those petals dry, we'll go back to the leaf and put a bit of shadow on. So it's sort of imaginary where the light's coming from and things, because I've not got a reference photo or anything like that. I've just done this shape quite quickly from various pictures in a book. I'm just going to imagine the light's maybe coming from that side and we've got the underside of the leaf is darker. So I'm just putting another layer of the same colour over the top, perhaps underneath this little shape here, and perhaps down one side of the stem in places to make it a bit more of a round stem. And that's enough for the leaf and the stem. Can you see here we've got a bit of a cauliflower where I tried tidying that up again because it's drying so quickly. And these are just going to be yellow, so that's just quickly a case of just filling those in. And the little stems are sort of a bit yellowy as well, so we'll just put those in. Put a bit more yellow in the centre to brighten it up a bit. And that's probably enough for those. And then a shadow colour for the flower itself. Rather than just use the pink again on top, I'm going to add to the pink a little tiny touch of the green. Obviously it's on the opposite side of the colour wheel, and this is a good idea for a shadow colour, is you just add a touch of whatever's on the opposite side of the colour wheel to your original mix. That gives you a nice shadow colour. So if the light's coming from above here, we're probably going to get a shadow, let me think, this side of this one. But not all the way around, because that's obviously going up in towards the sun. So think about where the direction of where your sun's coming from. And again, this bit's going to be more in the shade. And if you don't want the whole petal to be in the shade and just one part of it, do put the shadow on, dry your brush, and then just touch it at the edge just to make that nice and soft without any hard line. And in here is obviously going to be very shady in between, and I'd already put some shade in with the pen. I don't know if you can see I'd put some extra colour in there with the pen, extra shading rather. And these little things are going to be casting a bit of shadow as well. And this petal here would obviously cast shadow on this one here. And again, I'll just soften that edge. It's probably catching the sun quite a bit on that petal there, other than this side of it. And the petals are curled as well, so they're going to get shadow on different edges. And just by putting it in an imaginary place, you can make a bit of a curl of the leaf. Petal rather. So in here it's probably going to be quite dark. And this one will be casting a shadow on this one, and then we're going to be going over that area a little bit where it's cauliflowered and blending that in a bit more. So when you're painting wet on dry and you're doing another layer over the top, it can hide a little bit of the mistakes below, but then again we're painting something that's a natural living thing, so it's going to have imperfections anyway. Now that first shadow we put in on this petal wasn't really very dark compared to the original wash, so let's just put a bit more on. So of course that's already dried. By the time we've gone around the whole flower, this first bit that we did's dried already. So just in one or two places go even darker. And then maybe pick out one or two of those vein shapes that you've already put in with the pen. Now you may want to do this in pencil and just rely on your painting rather than having these stronger pen lines. Okay, now I think actually the alizarin is quite a heavy pink. I did think about using the rose one, but that was a bit unrealistic for what I was wanting to do. So if you did decide you wanted some highlights on that, once it's dried you could obviously come back and put some something like a white crayon over the top. The thing about reds and pinks is they don't lift very well from the paper. If you were doing a blue lily, which I don't think there is such a thing, or a yellow one, you'd be able to lift some highlights out of that, but red tends to be a dye, it tends to be a stain that goes into the paper, so you won't be able to lift that off. But if you did want some white on that, of course we could have used masking fluid, but you could come back and put some crayon on, so I might just do that in a moment. But I hope you found that useful. If like me you're struggling with the weather and with things drying too quickly, if you want to comment about that in the comments below and see what other people think and give other people hints and tips for how you manage the weather. So thank you very much for watching. I'll be back again soon, and bye for now.